All right, guys. This next guest is a legendary actor. I don't care what none of y'all say. I grew up watching him on TV and in movies. He's spitting them bars crazy too. I'm talking about the one and only Omar Gooding.
Come on.
Big O. How you doing, bro?
Blessed and highly favored. Yourself?
I'm good, man. Let's get straight to it.
Come on.
In 2019, you released the album The Excuse, which was produced by the bro, Focus 3 Dots, right? I spoke to Focus yesterday, and he said it was a dope experience working with you, man. I interviewed him in the past, and he's a good dude. What was the experience like for you working with him?
Well, first of all, I've known Focus for over 20 years. We grew up together, basically. You know, when he came to L.A., he met some cats. And then me and the crew, the homie, we all kind of linked up through mutual acquaintances, and we bonded over music. He used to work. He's been working for Dre for quite a long time, and I would tell this story about my battle rap history and my aggressive rap style, which I remember Focus battled me and the whole crew. He battled like all my whole crew. He had it was him by himself, and it was me and like 4 other dudes, and he was tearing everybody up. Till Big O, let him tell the story. Till Big O stepped in. No. But I mean, it was a mutual respect type of thing. And you know, when he worked for Dre, what he would do is he would make beats. You know, any producer that works with Dre, they'll make beats and then they'll submit it to him. You know, like how about this beat? How about that beat? And then sometimes he would want to hear beats with some lyricism on it. You know what I mean? So we were the guys that would be in the studio with him. And he'd make a beat, and we'd hear him. I mean, we'd watch him create this beat. You know what I mean? Sample or no sample. He would start playing every instrument, just piecing it together. And we'd be like, ugh, that's nasty. And then he would let it play for about 15, 20 minutes, and we'd all run to the corner and write. You know what I mean? You know, phone, paper. We'd just be like, come on, man, come on. And he'd be about 20 minutes up. He'd be like, all right, who got a verse? You know, we would run in one at a time. And I remember I had gotten to a situation where Nas had dissed my brother on a record and said Cuba Gooding Jr. something called him a sellout or something. So I was hot. And I remember Chino XL was there too. And Chino was in there. We did another song with Chino, which was dope. There was one called My Life that I did with Chino, which was hot. Anyway, so when it was time for everybody to spit their verse, I got up there and I'm sitting there talking about fuck Nas and all this crazy shit. And everybody in the whole room got quiet. Like, what the hell's wrong with this nigga? It was like, we're going to move this and put this on a whole other track and hope that Nas never hears it. But it wasn't super out of line and disrespectful. It was just like, fuck him. Who's he talking about? You know, calling my brother out and that type of thing. But Focus and I have been locked in for years, man. You know, so in 2019, what happened was, you know, actually, let me tell the story correctly. So my father passed away in 2017. For those who don't know, my father was a legendary singer from the Main Ingredient. Everybody plays a fool sometimes. That was my daddy, right? So he had his musical career. It really peaked in the 70s, which is when I was born. Then when I was born, actually, he went to South Africa during apartheid, which was a big no-no for American artists. So when he came back, he was blacklisted and he had to start over in his career and so forth and so on, right? So he kind of was chasing it for the rest of his life, basically trying to get back on top. He had a couple hits here and there, a couple different deals and so forth and so on. But when he passed away in 2017, it felt like I was the only one that was really musical in the family. You know what I mean? I'm the only one that had record deals and was signed and so forth and so on, other than my mother, but that's on a different.
Wait, Cuba can't rap? He can play radio. He can't rap though. He ain't got bars like you.
He turned on the radio and he play it. But I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother question, man. I mean, that's a whole nother topic of discussion because like my resurgence, it's probably emergence as a rapper. Let's just put it that way, where people are like, wait a minute, no, he is a rap. He can't just rap. He's an actual rapper. Like this boy got bars. It's really happening now, I think, because of the timing of the need in the state of hip hop, where people are listening now. They're listening to lyricism and they're getting back to that. It's going back full circle with, you know, like the Tupac Biggie era, which I always reference, which was the golden age for me when you know, these brothers, even when they were beefing, they were still lyrical. It was still music. It was hip hop. It was raw. But anyway, so my father, when he passed away, I felt like I had to kind of pick up the torch. And Focus said to me, bro, we need to do an album where you're not rapping about, because before I tell that story, let me give you a little more backstory. Like, so for me, I grew up on the West Coast, right? My brother and sister were born in the Bronx. My mother and father were born in Harlem. So on the West Coast, even though I'm born and raised on the West Coast, I kind of got East Coast blood. Well, ain't no kind of about it. My parents and everybody, they're from the East Coast. So the talent and all that, yeah, comes from the East, but the raw, the grittiness, the way that we get there, not everybody on the West Coast was just like gangster rap. You know what I mean? We had backpackers back over there, We had hieroglyphics and the Far Side and that type of shit. Those are the kind of groups that I listened to. But I also, the first song I ever memorized was The Show by Dougie Fresh and Big Grit. I performed it in fourth grade, at a talent show. And but the thing was, it was two different things. One, I kind of hid behind. I didn't want to tell people that I rapped when they knew I was an actor, right? So I was in the underground hip hop circuits, Budweiser, Superfest, and all that type of stuff, where I would compete with other cats. And, they just saw me as Big O. That's all they knew. You know what I mean? So I kind of used that moniker throughout my hip hop career, so to speak. And when I first put out an album, I put it out under Big O. And no one could really find it, or they would put in Big O and they'd be like, who's Big O? And there was like a couple other guys named Big O. And then it wasn't until 2021 that I said, no, it's got to be Omar Gooding. So this album that Focus and I did, he told me, look, man, you got to be introspective. I want you to rap about yourself, rap about, people want to hear about Baby Boy, rap about your brother, your career, like do that. Don't hide behind Big O and be rapping about random shit. That's all I would do. I'd be like trying to be super creative and super, abstract and shit. Like, and my metaphors would be like, what are you really talking about? Nigga? It's rhyming, but we don't really get what you're saying. And Focus was the one that locked me in and was like, nah, bro. So we came up with this album called The Excuse. And the main theme behind it was, this is my excuse for being this good, but no one knowing it. This, I was busy doing this. I had this going on. I'm doing movies, blah, 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 blah. My brother, my father, my sister, this and so forth. And, but you check that album out. It's on Spotify. And it's a solid album. It's really a solid album. And it's an EP though. It's only like 7 or 8 songs. So, that's what I'm excited about this year. On my birthday, for the last 2 years on my birthday, I've been releasing music, right? I released another EP called Succession that was produced by Stephen Keys to Mogul Ellis. And it had the song Legacy that I dedicated to my father that has him singing on it while I'm rapping. So it's like a duet we did while he was, in heaven. You know what I'm talking about? So that was a couple years ago. And then last year I released a single called Overstand Me, right? Produced by DJ M80. Now I met DJ M80 just like over the internet. He was just like, let me send you a beat pack. He sent me a pack. First song out there was called Overstand. Like, producers will name their beats so they can, keep track of them, whatever. But then they send them to artists, and artists usually create a new song and then it changes, But that was the first time ever someone sent me a beat and I used the name. I was like, Overstand Me sounds about right. So not only is the single Overstand Me, but that's now the title track for my album. The reason being, I did another song called I'm Him, which is a monster. And I was going to name the whole album I'm Him. We started doing publicity on it. Then I come to find out Kevin Gates got 2 albums called I'm Him. I said, okay, well, I'm not doing that. He got a part 1 and a part 2. I was like, okay. But the Focus, with Focus, man, he's so fucking gifted. And we go so far back that album, we actually had pulled it down. We were going to remaster it and add something to it. But then, life happens, life be life, and we kind of got sidetracked.
Right.
But I'm excited about this one, Overstand Me. Produced majority wise, it's absolutely mixed by DJ M80, and he produced about 80% of the tracks. But I got Stephen Keys to Mogul Ellis on a couple tracks. I got Black Nails on the newest single that I dropped, For the Culture, featuring Glasses Malone. So I'm excited about that. And who else is on this? I got a couple other producers that work with me on it.
That Glasses track is fire. That Glasses track is fire, though.
The Glasses track is fire. The beat alone. And that was another thing. I met Black Nails, same type of situation. He was like, let me send you some beats. And listened to the first one, was rocking. The second one That was that For the Culture joint. I don't know what he named it, but it was, for me, the way that developed too. You know, I was in a headspace where I'm in this. I've been in this. It wasn't really like a all consuming back and forth beef with me and Cameron. What happened was, he mentioned me on his podcast. I'm also doing stand up comedy and I'm promoting the album. And I said, let me put a record out. And I put the record out and it went nuts. Like, you know, I just put it on YouTube. And now all of a sudden, first time in 30, 40 fucking years, I'm in every hip hop blog imaginable. I'd have made all the magazines that I've always read, all based off of this record. And it made him respond just through the comments. And then when he commented something crazy, I made a part 2 of that shit. You know what I mean? And then he was promoting his podcast. So he would say things on his podcast, little segments about me and Freestyle Friday, or I keep going Freestyle. His freestyle segment that he does, he mentioned a couple bars about me, and then I wrote a third one, you know. And then it wasn't until he pulled this little prank that I went ahead and took the gloves off and really hit him upside the head with that part 4.
Well, you know, another thing people don't realize, though, is that anybody can really write bars, but the way that you're performing and riding the beat, like, you know, flowing over the beats and everything, that shows that you really know how to rap, though.
Respect. Yeah, man, I've always been technical, always been a perfectionist. I've always been a student of the game. You know, I get a song called Homage that's on our album, me and Focus's album, The Excuse. And, you know, that whole album, everything I do, it's calculated. You know, so when you listen to this album, it starts off with A Better Me, and then, you know, I give them A Better Me is the song that I dedicated both to my father and my son, because it was me saying that my son will be a better version of myself, while at the same time everything that I'm passing it down to him knowledge wise were things that my father taught me. You know what I mean? Who had just passed. So it was kind of deep, and then it speeds up a little bit, and then I got the title track, The Excuse. And then it ramps up. And then by the end of the album, you have Homage. And Homage is double time. And it's me paying homage to the era of like Busta Rhymes, Leaders of the New School, and that type of thing. So I'm doing this double time. And I remember when I always remember I was listening to the Fushnikins. And the Fushnikins had a song. What I remember the line was, the thicker, the richer, the bigger, the better, the flow. But when in the song, it was the thicker, the richer, the bigger, and I was like, whoa. And I remember I was able to follow along with it. And I realized that there are certain words you could say faster than other words. You know, if you write, and that's what became so fucking fun, man. If you say, I want to say this, or I want to convey this message, I want to go fast. It's got to match this beat. It's got to rhyme. And the words got to fall after each other. And you have to enunciate every single word while you're saying it.
Right. You have to be calculating the amount of syllables that you put in the actual bar and everything like that.
Absolutely. And sometimes you be like, oh, you got to take a word out, or you got to take a syllable out, or you got to say, how about we just skip that and go right to that? So that was the fun technical part of hip hop. And you know, another thing I was kind of had an epiphany about the other day when I was listening. You know, people always ask me, what do you like to do better? Is it acting? Is it stand-up comedy? Is it music? And with acting, you kind of have to be given an opportunity. You know, I mean, of course you audition and you study your craft and this and that, but people will tell you they go years and years without even getting a role, or you get 1 or 2 roles and you always wait for that one big role, but the opportunity has to be given. With music and even with stand-up comedy, you create your opportunities. You know what I mean? We go in the studio and we develop the song and we write it, and you have more control over the level of you know, the music and even in stand-up. I'm right. I got a show tomorrow night and it's fun. Tonight after I get done with you, I'll take up a sip and I'm gonna write my material for tomorrow. You know, and it's like, it's not like someone is giving me something and then I just have to make do with it. I actually literally create it. So it's exciting.
Yo, I saw you were just with Irvin E.P. Pope, who I interviewed too. That's a super talented, underrated brother, man. I spoke to him yesterday too. He said he met you at the Glasses Malone video shoot. Yeah, and he told me to tell you to tap in because he's ready to work.
Good. He texted me too, and he said EP. I had him in my phone as EP, and EP is short for executive producer in my world of acting. So I was just like, who's the executive producer? But then he said EP is more. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, what's up, bro? Let's get it. So yeah, him, man, and Joker, man. I want to, you know, we're gonna lock in and get some stuff done, man.